If you ever hurt your knee, ankle, or elbow, I can guarantee you someone told you something right away. R.I.C.E. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation. What if I told you that advice is outdated, and the doctor who actually coined that term does not recommend it anymore? Today, I'm going to explain why R.I.C.E. doesn't actually help you heal, what the research says instead, and what golfers actually should be doing and not just icing their injury forever. Let's first start back at the beginning. R.I.C.E. was popularized in 1978 by Dr. Gabe Merkin. At the time, it was meant to be as first aid, not necessarily a long-term recovery plan. The goal was simple. It was to reduce your pain and swelling right after an injury. And for decades, it did become the gold standard. But here's the part that most people miss. Dr. Merkin himself actually came out later, I think it was back in 2015, and said prolonged rest can actually delay the healing process and not help it. And that lines up with what we know now about the body and how the tissues end up healing over time. All the research that has come out over the past few decades has confirmed this message. The first big problem with R.I.C.E. is that it treats inflammation like it's the enemy. Inflammation is actually how your body tends to heal itself. It brings blood flow, nutrients, and repair cells to the damaged tissue. When you aggressively ice and shut that process down over and over again, you're basically telling your body to slow down the healing process, which is why the injuries that you guys end up getting tend to linger over the course of at least 2 to 3 months, and it doesn't tend to get any better. Now, don't get me wrong, ice can help, and I'm not 100% against ice. However, the way it actually functions in our system is it essentially numbs or blocks our pain receptors wherever you're feeling the pain. If it's in your knee, the signals in the nerves all the way up to your brain are basically shut down. That's what ice does. If your knee or your elbow is throbbing so much that you can't handle it, and ice is the only thing that can take that pain away, I'd rather have you ice it for a little bit rather than hop on a bunch of anti-inflammatories. That being said, ice does reduce blood flow. And over a long period of time, if you don't have the proper blood flow, it will delay the healing process. The second biggest issue with the R.I.C.E. method is that they overemphasize the rest period. People think rest tends to help heal their injury. However, that is not the case at all. Complete rest actually leads to stiffness, weakness, and slower recovery, especially in golfers who already sit a lot throughout the day. Whether you're commuting home from your job or even sitting at your desk job. Your joints, muscles, and tendons need load in order to heal themselves. The right load though. So instead of R.I.C.E., there's now a new phrase being thrown around that people generally follow. It's actually called peace and love. Now it's a long acronym, but I'll go over it with you guys. In the first 1 to 3 days, first 24 to 72 hours, you want to do the peace part of that acronym. So P stands for protection. Don't push through sharp pain. You want to protect the injured area. E is for elevation. So going back to the R.I.C.E. method, E was in R.I.C.E. and elevation still is found to help you out because you want to elevate and help drain the excess inflammation in the area and bring it back up so that way your body can flush it out. The A in peace stands for avoid overuse of anti-inflammatories. You don't want to continuously take as many pills as you can because essentially that's not helping heal the process. Again, it's similar to ice where it's just kind of numbing the sensation. C is for compression. So I get this question a lot. Does a knee brace help? Does an elbow brace help? It does tend to help. Compression does help in the sense that it drains fluid out through the body like we were just mentioning with elevation. The E in peace stands for education. So you have to be aware and understand what is actually going on in order for you to help facilitate the healing process. Okay, so once the first 24 to 72 hours are now done, you want to jump into the love aspect of it. L stands for load. So you want to do gradual load, gradual movement and resistance after those first initial days. So that's where the exercises come into play. You don't want to go straight into deadlifting heavy again, but you want to do some exercises that load above and below the injured areas so that way it can help protect the actual injured region. O stands for optimism. Having a positive mindset goes a lot further in recovery than people think. If you have a bad outlook on your injury, things are only going to get dramatized even more and it's only going to make your sensory nervous system heightened. V stands for vascularization. So this means you should get more cardio, a little bit more blood flow going through your system in order to help stimulate the healing process a little bit further. E stands for exercise. So you want to move into targeted strength and mobility exercises to get the muscles above and below the injured region in order to protect that spot. This is where the real healing happens. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper into the question that I get all the time, and it's asking whether a knee brace or an elbow brace will help them while they play. My answer tends to be the same. It's not really going to hurt you if you wear the brace, but it's also not necessarily going to fix the issue for you. If you just wear the brace and think that that's going to magically heal your injury, think again. That's where the exercise tends to come into play. And I know that's the part that people tend to roll their eyes at, but that really is the thing that hammers home injury prevention or injury rehab. Think of it this way. If you put a brace on your knee or your elbow, it can increase your confidence in order to play more. However, it's not going to strengthen the muscles above or below that region in order to actually fix the problem. You want to fix the underlying issue at hand in order to actually continue playing golf for a long time. One thing I also want to mention too, a lot of people come to me with golfer's elbow, which is on the inside part of the left arm if you're a right-handed golfer, or more commonly, I actually see more tennis elbow in amateur golfers, which is actually on the outside part, usually on your trail arm. And the people that usually have these injuries come up to me and ask me if they can just wear an elbow brace or put some tape around that elbow in order to reduce that pain. And again, my answer is the same. You can do that for sure, and it might help you through your round, but it's not necessarily going to fix the underlying issue. What you need to actually do is strengthen those muscles in the forearm, the wrist, and honestly, even in the shoulder or the trunk. People tend to get the elbow pain not directly from that source, but with other limitations up the chain. So the message I want to leave you guys with is that you shouldn't ice and rest forever. That's not going to fix your problem. You actually want to shift your mindset over to loading the tissues intelligently. This will tell your body, hey, we need you strong again. And that's how golfers actually stay on the course and golf consistently for 3 to 4 times a week, not stuck rehabbing the same injury every season. So no, R.I.C.E isn't evil, it's just incomplete with its thought process. Pain relief is fine, but healing actually requires more movement, load, and a plan. So if you're dealing with knee pain, shoulder pain, elbow pain, maybe even some low back pain, that injury won't go away if you just R.I.C.E it out. You want to shift your thinking process into early movement and load in order to actually heal correctly. In future videos, I might break down common injuries that I see with golfers and dive deep into the specifics on how to rehab them and actually what causes those injuries. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.